This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
Welcome to Wish TV's Business, Equity, and Opportunities. I'm Scott Sander. The show is designed for new business owners and entrepreneurs interested in starting out on their own. We hope to give you information that'll help you develop the skills you'll need to start and run a successful small business, or perhaps grow a business that you have into one you've been dreaming about. For help, we turn to successful business owners and community leaders who've walked in your shoes. They know the trials, they know the errors, and they offer their guidance to help you navigate the path to success. Our focus continues to be on diversity, equity, and opportunities. Each show contains 7 familiar segments, all designed to cover topics that you likely will encounter every day in the business world. Our hope is to provide a variety of views on the best ways to tackle the challenges that come with it. We remind you can watch the show right here every week or catch the live stream on wishtv.com. Plus, you can access all of our content and share it on demand anytime at beoshow.com. Coming up on today's Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Many businesses are using podcasts as marketing tools. We talk to an expert who explains the new trend in our This Week in Business segment. We look at non-traditional lenders as options for you to consider in access to capital. And we hear the success story of a former football player turned entrepreneur, Emil Ekiyor. He saw a gap in our local business community and created InnoPower to help fill it. As always, we begin with our first topic, getting started. Each week, this segment will focus on the things that you may need to think about and plan for as you begin your business journey. Today, we chat with one of the top women-owned business leaders in Indiana. She shares her thoughts on how to build and grow your team, both in business and in the community.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Getting started.
Kathy Langham is the president and CEO of Langham Logistics, a company that, under her leadership, has become a leading women's business enterprise in Indianapolis. She's considered an expert in the field of supply chain solutions and is often sought after to consult with various state and industry organizations. Kathy shares some of her thoughts on the biggest things you need to consider when starting a new business and offers ideas on how to retain a solid staff.
A couple of the biggest things that a new entrepreneur needs to think about is, number one, having the right people around them. So whether that's an employee or a mentor or a customer, really to be thoughtful about who can I learn the most from, or who can be most accretive to what I'm trying to do. So that is big. Tenacity is big. Don't, forget about sleeping at night, because you're working day and night, and just continuing to build strong relationships, whether it's bankers, whether it's, for me, truckers, whether it's customers, whether it's employees. Build strong relationships, be thoughtful, keep your eyes open, be willing to learn. Don't think you've got all the answers. Just bring people into your life that can really help you. This is a time of high turnover, for all of us. So we really have to be diligent about how we're helping our customers, our employees grow and feel happy with their role here. And a lot of it is around listening to them, adhering to your core values, listening, teamwork, respect for each other, and people have to feel respected or they won't stay. Ongoing training. We've got a Cornerstone program, software program, where we assign training every quarter to each employee. Because really, I believe that at the end of the year, you should be able to update your resume and have learned new things. And that's satisfying to our team. We have something called the Culture Club, which is every month we do something, whether it's pumpkin carving contest or ice cream or chili cook-off or whatever, to help our teams feel that we care about them. We're looking out for them. Of course, fair compensation, and just continuing to thank them and be part of their lives and care about what's happening in their lives. Really, that is the biggest thing. People want to feel appreciated, and in this day and age, more than ever. I get asked a lot about the importance of networking and being involved in the community, and I really did that from the very beginning. when you never think, there are never enough hours in the day. Work will expand to fill the time you give it. So there's always plenty more work to do. It is an effort to take a step back and get out in the community and get involved. But it makes, for a lot of reasons, it makes a lot of difference. Number one, you're adding value. Number two, you always get more than you give when you invest in things like that. And number three, the business possibilities are very strong. So you're meeting with potential customers or someone that can help you grow your business. So it's important. And you're making a difference. And by the way, once you get involved and people know that you will be there and you will do what you say you will do, you will get other opportunities. And you'll be fine. Keep working.
Coming up next, we turn our attention to non-traditional lenders in access to capital. In our industry focus, this week we go backstage to find out about the business of music. You can find these and other segments online at veoshow.com. This is Business Equity and Opportunities. We'll be right back.
Getting Started, made possible by the Indiana Economic Development Corporation. This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
Welcome back to Business Equity and Opportunities. In today's Access to Capital, we continue our look at non-traditional lending opportunities that you may or may not have considered.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Access to capital.
When it comes to getting capital for a new business, there are numerous community programs available to help with funding. Matthew Murphy III, founder of Emboss Partners, talks about non-traditional access to capital.
We've been extremely blessed here in Central Indiana with, and throughout the state actually, organizations that are non-traditional lenders. And they, there's a plethora of categories. For example, I'm on the board of directors, shameless plug, of an organization called Community Investment Fund of Indiana. It is a CDFI, a Community Development Financial Institution, basically created by and sanctioned by, if you will, certified by the U.S. Treasury Department. And there's like 1,500 CDFIs across the country. They exist to provide loans, generally, some grants, to low-income individuals and to underserved communities, underserved populations. And in doing so, they tend to take a different profile of risk, a little bit more risk than a traditional lender like a bank would take. So why is that important? It's important to know that if the banker says no, but if these conditions were met, a lot of times these non-traditional lenders, also like Cambridge Capital Management here in Indianapolis, they do a great job. They have 4 different funds that they can work with borrowers on to provide financial resources really side by side with banks. So it reduces the bank's risk profile and it helps to provide more leveraged capital to these businesses. So I would encourage potential borrowers to not only look at banks, but to also seek some feedback and input from some of these non-traditional lenders. And you can find out who they are, for example, through the Small Business Administration. SBA has a strong working relationship with both banks and the non-traditional lenders. So.
Podcasts have been around for nearly 2 decades, but the last 5 years have seen stunning growth in their popularity. And that's leading to surprising finds about the generation of ad revenue. When we come back, we talk to the general manager of Circulus Digital Media and find out how a podcast can help you grow your business. That and more when Business Equity and Opportunities return.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
Welcome back to Business, Equity, and Opportunities on Wish TV. I'm Scott Sander. Successful business owners know the importance of staying on top of the latest local news. Staying current on what business tools are making news can certainly help determine your company's technical path as well. Joining us today, a friend and familiar face, Nelson Spade, the General Manager of Circulus Digital Media, which is an arm of Wish TV, certainly something that we work closely together on, and you can help our business owners with as well. Podcasting. Now this is something, it's been around for a long time, but really seems to have gotten hot in the last few years. Where does it stand now? What are people listening to?
It's really evolving in the last year. To your point, podcasting has been around for quite some time. The pandemic and really in the last year, the shift in people's schedules, their commuting has really changed how people are consuming information. So the drive time radio in your car isn't as prominent as it once was. I have a spouse that works from home 5 days a week, as
Right.
many of us do. Podcasting sampling has really increased in the last 12 months. And with that increase, we're seeing a shift in what the podcast profile looks like. So I think we've talked about this. Traditionally, podcasting was a Caucasian, male-heavy platform,
Okay.
slightly higher income, maybe middle age, 35 to 55. And it's really shifting as a lot more sampling's happening. And it might be very relevant for our business owners watching the show to learn. It's very male-female split now. Minority audiences, African Americans and Hispanics are really taking part in sampling at a higher level. But it's not just who, it's also what is changing. So we're seeing this kind of escape being more popular. It's not just about news.
Right.
It's history and sports and business as well.
And to that extent, speaking from a broadcast background, it was always try to reach the greatest number. With a podcast, there's almost this ability to get very specific, and sort of the niche is a good thing.
Niche is mainstream in podcasting, and it's really a unique element to that platform. We talked about this escape, right? So history, fiction, sports, true crime are the largest content categories of podcasting in the last year that have really increased. The number I didn't know until I was preparing for our discussion, that even blew my mind, 1/3 of all of the top 50 podcasts in the country are from niche producers. It's not a big media company behind these. Niche can really be your strength. And from a business perspective, it's a big opportunity and can be a big arm for your business for communication.
Well, let's talk about that, because our niche, if you will, our audience
Please.
is very specific today. What do you want them to know about the opportunities out there? Because from a listener side, it's, I can find this, I can find this. But from a marketer's side,
Yes.
it seems like there's an enormous amount of opportunity.
There is. From two perspectives, I'll talk through maybe an opportunity.
Great.
The one thing is, from an advertising or from a reach perspective, using podcasts to grow your business, the targeting of your messages, or if you're using podcasts to reach people, has grown, and the data behind the targeting has grown so much in the last 12, 18 months. We have a better offering for our clients than we've ever had before. Again, niche is key, so contextual relevancy. If you're trying to reach a business audience, make sure you're targeting a business-minded person by their job title or the type of business they own. Those are possibilities now. 18, 24 months ago, it was, I want to reach males over the age of 30. You were limited to those things. From a consumption perspective, though, to grow your business, there's still half of the country that hasn't listened to a single podcast yet. it's a big opportunity as that sampling continues.
And to that end as well, you talked about hitting different demographics.
Yes.
Can you drill down to the point you're like, listen, I'm a sports business. I want people who like sports. You can get that specific with it.
Without question. Age, basic demographic information, interest is a big piece. It's connecting your business contextually to that type of podcast.
Some things are settled science. We kind of know the direction it's headed for the foreseeable future. Some things seem to change and shift. You mentioned the last year things have really evolved.
So.
Do you think things are still evolving? Do you need to stay on top of it, continue to watch the trend?
In the digital game, whether it's podcasting or other things, the answer is always yes. You're always on from a learning perspective. Podcasting is in its second or third phase of life. There's many more to come, I think.
And here at News 8 and Wish TV, we have the All Indiana Podcast Network. There's an opportunity, if you want to podcast, to work with us through that as well.
So we have 2 full-scale podcast studios here in our building that are open to partners if they want to partner with the All Indiana Podcast Network. And even if you don't, check out our podcasts. We have over 60 or 75 even local podcasts. Yours is one of them.
Got it. One I drop daily. So thank you for the knowledge, Nelson.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Encourage you to think about some of the things that Nelson's an expert in. One of the largest cultural events of its kind in the country has been taking place in Indianapolis this week, the 51st Annual Indiana Black Expo Summer Celebration. Started July 7th, wraps up today. Here you can experience 10 days of entertainment, arts, dance, food, film, and business.
We have something that's really highlighting the local talent and giving them the opportunity to show their work and connect with the community.
And it provides the perfect setting for an unprecedented health screening event, the Black and Minority Health Fair.
So here's the opportunity to change. Can I ask my doctor this? What should I know as a patient? How can I navigate through the system? And then how do I get my doctor to listen? So we want you to take care of yourself, because if you don't take care of yourself, how are you going to be able to take care of others?
Tuesday, Dewan McCoy, owner, president, and CEO of Circle City Broadcasting, was one of the honorees at the governor's reception, recognizing some of Indiana's community leaders for their contributions in increasing collaboration between all of our citizens. He was honored for his achievement in business and entrepreneurship. When we come back, we turn our attention to accounting and bookkeeping. This week, we look at the results of a new study that makes a case for Black-led Community Development Financial Institutions, or CDFIs. You don't want to miss what they found out. Stay here for more business, equity, and opportunity.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
Welcome back to Business, Equity, and Opportunities. A recent study from Equity Pays has become the basis for the first Black-led CDFI loan fund in Indiana. Launched in October of last year, we talked to the author of that study in this edition of Accounting and Bookkeeping.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Accounting and Bookkeeping.
Marshawn Wally, President and CEO of Black Onyx Management, recently completed a feasibility study for the city of Indianapolis and LISC titled Equity Pays, a case for Black-led community development financial institutions. He shares some of the results from that study and their importance.
Equity Pays is a report that was commissioned by the City of Indianapolis and LISC to develop a case statement and a feasibility for a Black-led CDFI. We know that Black-led CDFIs nationally are underutilized by Black businesses, and we felt that those being mission-focused institutions would be a great asset, a community asset really, to help empower Black businesses in our local community. CDFIs were founded in 1973. They're mission-focused institutions that work with individuals that may not be able to access the traditional financial system. 75% of CDFIs work in disinvested communities, and so these are folks that are going to have maybe credit issues or maybe not have collateral to get loan products and other financial services. CDFIs often provide education as well as financial products to help people access the traditional market, which is around $17 trillion. When you think about business communities, Indianapolis has had a black business community since the founding of the city. We called it, the first black business was founded in 1821. It was David Mallory and it was a barbershop. So we've been here for quite some time, but when you look at disparity studies, you see that we're often underutilized, and we had an estimated 40% closure rate before COVID. With a CDFI, we have the opportunity to address one of the main challenges that black businesses talk about, which is access to capital. Creating access to capital, also with support on the education side on how to leverage and use that capital, are key things that need to happen in our community to address our low business formation numbers within the black community. Indianapolis is 55 out of 85 metros in black business formation. The state is 26 out of 40. And so even though we have low business formation, when you look at the way our businesses compete in the market, studies have shown that our businesses outperform their peers. And so it's really a great investment for our community to move everyone forward. The first bank that was founded in this community by a black person was Midwest National Bank by Dr. Frank Lloyd. It was founded in 1972, and it was eventually purchased by KeyBank, but it was important in the community because it created a financial institution that the African American community could go to and know that they were going to have someone from the community who looked like them making decisions about the financial services and products that they could access. 53% of black entrepreneurs are denied business loans, and that's more than twice than their non-black peers. One of the things that we learned in going through this process of thinking about a black-led financial institution was really the frustration in the community about access to business loans. I mean, there was concern that you could get a credit loan, you could get a credit card, but you're not going to get either, a mortgage or a business loan. And so that data was really striking, and it was something that we felt that black-led CDFI could be responsive to. Only 2.2% of black businesses are what's called employer businesses, which means that they're not sole proprietors, and they actually have employees and a payroll that goes beyond themselves. And the reason why that becomes significant, particularly for our community, is we know that black businesses hire black people, and our community, the Black Indianapolis community, went through basically double-digit unemployment the last decade from 2010 to 2019. And so black entrepreneurship is really not just about creating black wealth for individuals, but it also reverberates through the community by creating jobs. So Equity 1821 will be a black-led institution, which really means three things. It means that it'll have black leadership at the management level, it'll have a black-led board, and then it'll also be mission-focused and oriented towards addressing black folks' needs. We think that that's important, particularly in the financial services arena, because of both the need to demystify banking, but also the challenge of relationship development. And we found that the research has suggested that when you have a minority development, a minority deposit institution that develops relationships with its community, that it will outperform institutions that are not minority-led. Equity 1821 is really standing on the shoulders of other efforts to advance the community from an economic perspective. R.T. Andrews in 1963 launched the Mount Zion Indianapolis Federal Credit Union. R.T. Andrews was the pastor of the largest black church in the city at the time, and he tried to get a loan from traditional financial institutions, and he was called racial slurs. Instead of just succumbing to that, he created the credit union, which still exists today, to provide savings products and financial education to the community at large.
If you'd like to know more about this segment or any from this show or our previous episodes, go to our website, beoshow.com. There you'll find information and resources to help you in your new business venture. Still to come on Business Equity and Opportunities, some quick thoughts from our contributors about running your business day to day.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
Welcome back to Business Equity and Opportunities. Once you get your business started, you have to be ready to handle the day-to-day running of it. Finding good employees and keeping them may be one of the most important things you do. It's especially true if you look at what's happening in the job market. You've heard the term the Great Resignation. The latest job quit numbers from the government show at least 4.3 million people have left jobs each of the last 7 months running. So what can you do to find and keep good employees? And how do you find balance in your own life to help meet the day-to-day challenges?
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Running your business day to day.
Our mentorship program within our employee base has been really great. We've also pushed our leadership team to find great mentors to challenge them. We also, as part of our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion program, have mentored small businesses, specifically women-owned and Black-owned businesses who are in our same space, and helped them grow, figure out a path forward, answer some of the tough questions or the head-scratching issues that they've faced that we maybe have figured out, a while ago, but we want to help them. And frankly, they help us get better too, right? Some of them are coming up with new ideas and innovating in a way that that keeps us pushing forward too.
But we have youth that are here during the week and on the weekends. We teach them workforce development so that they are employable by the time that they graduate. We teach them business, how to, create a business plan, a lean canvas, and we also teach them life skills.
You think about what is going to take our country forward, our communities forward, right? We're going to need to be able to draw on the broadest possible talent pool. It's one of the things we talk about inside the bank is the diversity and inclusion for us isn't just the right thing to do socially, although it is obviously that. It's actually a business imperative.
I've never been a person that didn't expect to have adversity. So I feel like when I do face it, challenges, I feel like I can overcome it. Because I don't walk around just thinking like, hey, everything's gonna be rainbow and sunshine, and nothing is ever gonna go wrong.
I've always looked at things from the perspective of people treat you the way you allow them to treat you. So if you establish boundaries and establish things up front, that changes the direction and the way that other people interact with you and the way that they accept you.
Tech is a component of everything. What company does not have a website? Small or large, you don't exist if you don't have a website. What company doesn't have to worry about cybersecurity? Every company has to worry about cybersecurity today. It's a big deal. So, and there are other areas that the Academy is expanding upon. There's things like DevOps, there's cloud computing. All companies in all these different dimensions have a tech component. Now that doesn't mean everybody there is doing tech, but if you know the language of tech, you're likely to be doing your job a whole lot better, and you're likely to earn a lot more income if you know tech.
Join us every week for Running Your Business Day-to-Day segments to hear thoughts from our contributing experts. We think you'll find them helpful in running your new business successfully. Still to come, our industry focus. Today we meet a local jazz musician whose business and life bring joy to his fans and to the community. I'm Scott Sander. Stay with us.
Running your business, made possible by 1150 Academy. This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
Welcome back. I'm Scott Sander. Each week on Business, Equity, and Opportunities, we'll focus on a specific industry in business and explain how it works. This week we highlight something that you may not immediately think of as a business, but it is for our next musical guest. Giving joy to others while having fun is his business.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Industry Focus.
Pavel Polanco Safadine, an international Latin jazz musician who grew up in the Dominican Republic, now calls Indiana his home. His talent takes him around the world with his band, Pavel and Direct Connect. His energy and infectious smile always make it look like great fun, and music is his life and his business.
It is a true business. It's an enjoyable business too. There's so many parts of music outside of just playing. You know, there's the marketing, social media part of it, the recording, the labels, musician, cost, sound, equipment, instruments. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. So it's a true business. Let's say I play in a club. The club or the theater or the venue says, hey, Pavel, come over here. You know, I get the musicians. They pay me. They get paid, but not only by the customers. You know, they can come in and enjoy it. For example, if I go outside of the country, they talk to the airlines. Let's say the airlines, they say, hey, this is what we can do. He's going to be on TV. He's going to be in radio. We can promote your airline. For them to give me a first-class flight is easy advertisement. So the venue doesn't have to pay it. I don't have to pay it. The same thing with the hotels. They get the hotels advertising them, and then it's free for them too. So that's just the beginning of it. So for me and for the venue, it's a win-win, right? The same thing with instruments. Sometimes you get the instrument, the place has the instruments once in a while, but then when they don't have it, they have to rent it or they get a sponsor for that. Especially the same music company to sponsor for that. So every money that comes in, just for the sake of advertisement, the money that comes in is the club's money. On top of that, they do have sponsors a lot of the time. For a lot of us, it's a lot of gigs, it's a lot of concerts, which is great. This is what we want. Back on those dark years, we just didn't know. We just didn't know what was, some people that made a full living out of music, they saw that coming down to a crash, for sure. And there are some people I know, they haven't been back from it yet. It hit them so hard. Knowing the people that are in the business and they are doing the business well, that's so important. Because you can just be in a garage band and never get out of the garage band. But if you're serious about this business, even though it takes you a long time, it's worth it to knock on those doors and ask questions and be ready. So that's just getting to know. Social capital, right? I want them to take a night that they will never forget. I want them to come and forget about everything, problems they have, to enjoy music, to enjoy the culture, the atmosphere, to enjoy just being there. And also I enjoy it tons, but I also take the business very serious, because for us musicians, you get, let's say, 1 or 2 people, 4 people to come to your show. Pay for those tickets. For the most part, pay for the meal, pay for the drinks, pay for the gas, and in most cases, pay for a babysitter. So it's an expensive night for 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 people. So it's not like, okay, sorry guys, next time, you gotta bring it on. You gotta have them like, you're here for a reason. And I'm going to give you what you need to take with you. Connecting cultures is a passion of mine. So for me, when we put something in English that people know into Latin rhythms, it's connecting to things, because for the crowd, the American crowd, they go like, oh, I know the song, but they're being introduced to Latin music, or to anything, or any cultural music per se. And for the Latino people, it's like, wow, I know the rhythm. What is that song? So expand their horizons, expands their their knowledge in music for the most part. So, and connects people. My hope for the future and the state of Indiana is that we get more, the diverse music, that we bring more acts here that connects people to different kinds of genres, and so that's my hope. So we can learn and we can have the world here in our backyard.
We'll have more information on how you can contact Pavel's Richmond, Indiana Amigos Latin Center on our website, beoshow.com. Coming up, former football player Emil Ekiyor shares his success story and how he's helping others find their own success. Also, a special treat, we'll share some of Pavel's famous Latin jazz sound when Business Equity and Opportunities return.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
Welcome back to Business, Equity, and Opportunities. We close out this week's show with a success story that started when a young man from Nigeria moved to the United States when he was only 15. His journey and what he has accomplished will inspire you.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities Success Story.
Emil Ekiyor is founder and the driving force behind InnoPower Indy, an organization that creates platforms and enables opportunities for creative thought with the given goal to drive innovation through diversity and inclusion.
So I was born in Lagos, Nigeria. When I was 15, my parents decided that it was a good idea for me to move here to the U.S. to pursue educational opportunities. I have 7 sisters and 2 brothers. So of course, when they told me that, I was sad I was leaving my family. But I remember vividly when I walked outside of my house in Lagos, Nigeria, and I walked into my friends to tell them. I remember how excited I was that I was coming to the US. I remember telling all my friends, like, yes, in 10 years, I'm sending for all of you, and I'm going to America. One of the strangest things for me was, in Nigeria, you are identified by your culture. You're Yoruba, you're Hausa, you're Igbo, you're Ijaw. And when I came here, for the first time, I was identified by my skin color. And initially, I didn't really understand it because we didn't learn the systemic issues here, because we were dealing with our own systemic issues in Nigeria colonization. So got here, I'd never played football, American football. I played soccer growing up. So I got introduced to football my junior year in high school. Played, I wasn't really good when I first started. I'd never played. My senior year, ended up having a pretty good season. And then I got one scholarship offer to go to University of Central Florida in Orlando. I got lucky and got into the NFL, and was a life-changing experience. So if you can imagine, 6 years prior, I was in Nigeria, and here I was in the NFL. So I retired from the NFL. My wife is from Indy, so we moved back here. Indy just there were so many opportunities that we saw in Indianapolis. I stayed in Oakland, California, in San Francisco, Atlanta, Tampa. And Indy just had this, like, a lot of things were still in its infancy stages as far as innovation and growth of the city. And I tried to figure out, okay, what am I going to do next that gives me the same excitement and energy about just life? You wake up every morning energized about what you do, like football did for me. But I just saw so many young people. I just saw a community that was full of talent. They all had dreams and aspirations. There was no connection, right? There was no path for them. Nobody ever shared a vision of themselves. We tried to figure out how can we do good, but how can we pay the bills doing good, right? My dream in life was always to be an entrepreneur. So it was trying to create something that could impact our community but could be sustainable. We just came up with the concept of InnoPower. The power of innovation. How do you solve problems and create opportunities in a different way in Black communities? So in the areas of talent development and entrepreneurship, everything from an idea stage business, if I have an idea, where do I go to foster the idea and help it grow? If I have an existing business, how do I grow my existing business? If I have a side hustle, how do I turn my side hustle into a formal business? And then at the end, if I'm looking to generate extreme wealth, how do you do that in Black communities today? So we try to look for a playbook, right? Who's done this? Like, how does this work? Like, what are some examples on how to do this? So as we were thinking about all those things and starting an organization, COVID hit. We didn't know that COVID was going to affirm everything that we were thinking, right? We didn't know George Floyd was going to happen, and everything that we were thinking and saying in our community was going to be affirmed as far as a different way and creating infrastructures and foundations to support startup growth and sustainability of Black businesses. We started our conference pre-COVID, and our conference has grown because it just created a platform for people to come together and gather. So we learned so much from mistakes of the past, just over the years of testing and trying different things. We wanted to come in and focus on the entire ecosystem. White, Black, green, woman, man, whoever. How do we take all those ideas? How do we create spaces where people can share those ideas and create this playbook, right? So we felt like that was the biggest opportunity we have today in Indianapolis is, how do we get the best of the best ideas? How do we engage the communities that we want to impact? So we can create a playbook that really details how we accelerate economic productivity in these communities. Accelerate because things are going to change. It's just going to take several generations. But how do we do it within one generation? And we believe that it can happen. So how do we respect people's ideas, opinions about certain things, bring them into the fray, and create this environment that really helps our entire community? Just get me there, right? Getting here and then being plugged into just this amazing infrastructure, right? I tell people all the time, the sports industry has the best talent development infrastructure in the world, right? If you are a talented athlete, if you had the traits and the skill sets, you get plugged into a development structure. And on the back end of that, you could be in the NFL or NBA. So how do we take that and bring that into every industry to develop Black talent? Where industry has skin in the game in the development process, where people have economic freedom and feel like they can start a business. If they have an idea for a business, those ideas just don't die. There's a place to go and grow those ideas. And we just feel like Indianapolis is so ripe for that today. We have the leadership in place from a state perspective and government. We have the leadership in place locally. We have a community, white, Black, brown community that all feel the same way. The only thing that's keeping us from doing is creating spaces where we could all come in and share these ideas and listen to each other to create the environment that we all care about and we all want to see. So that's kind of how my experiences have kind of shaped where we are today and our thoughts and how we think about people, communities, and working together to be where we are today with InnoPower and having the vision of accelerating economic productivity in our Black communities here in Indiana.
Our thanks again to all of our contributors who joined us today and to our future guests for sharing their insights and tips to help you grow and start a successful business. We hope you found the information useful and inspiring. Be sure to discover more great videos and information online at beoshow.com And we hope you'll join us again next week for more insights into the world of small business on business, equity, and opportunities.
Each week, we will provide 7 full segments, each designed to offer information on topics of interest, both to business startups and those currently operating a small business. From how to get started and how to access capital to the day-to-day running of your business and questions about accounting. Plus, we feature business news and trends and always share a success story from one of our contributors.
As we go this week, we leave you with a special treat. A few months ago, we had the pleasure of recording a sample of Pavel's original Latin jazz sound at the Jazz Kitchen. We wanted to share it with you now. Thanks for watching.
Business, Equity, and Opportunities is made possible by Indiana Economic Development Corporation and 1150 Academy.